Being in an interview can be overwhelming. So here at Sparta, we thought we will make it easier for you. The STAR technique can help you structure any question in an interview. So without further ado, let's begin. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. If this is used correctly, it will help anyone answer most interview questions. When asked a competency-based question, it can be all too easy to freeze up and give a vague and short answer or ramble on. To prevent this from happening, 80% of recruiters have advised candidates to use the STAR technique as a way to ensure that you are answering the question in the best way possible. Let's think about what the STAR technique really means. If an interviewer is asking you about a time when you had to think outside the box, this is how the STAR technique could potentially apply. Firstly, you describe the situation, paint the picture for your workplace example, and give context. Whilst I was studying paleontology at university, I volunteered on an excavation as part of my study. I went to a small village in Spain, which was quite secluded. One night at dinner, the supervisor asked if any of us wanted to plan and lead a community outreach session for the local children, and I was very happy to volunteer. Next, you explain the task. What was required from you in this situation? Then he revealed the first session would be the next day. So I only had a few hours to come up with an educational and engaging activity suitable for children, whilst dealing with a language barrier and not having any resources to use for potential activities. Then comes the action. This is a chance for you to prove to your interviewer that you can handle a crisis and have good decision-making skills. You are the hero of your story, so explain the steps you took, how and why. What did you do in this situation? What made you take those actions? Because of the language barrier, I was worried that the children would not understand what I was saying or would not enjoy the activity that I picked. I knew a physical interactive activity would be the best way forward, as I could rely on action rather than words to communicate. I also wanted to make it more personal to them, so I ended up deciding to lead a pottery session, teaching them to use the traditional technique their ancestors would have used. Unfortunately, I had no access to clay, so I almost abandoned the idea until I realized the environment was rich in natural red clay. So I grabbed a wheelbarrow and a shovel before digging as much clay as I could to use for the session. Finally comes the result. What was the outcome? What did you learn from this experience? As I predicted, the kids loved the session and were able to pick up on what I was trying to communicate without any issues. I knew they had a good time because they stayed on site while I went back to my team and continued making little reports. It was a really memorable experience because of how fulfilling it was to deliver an educational but fun lesson. If you like the video and want to find out more, click the link below to find more about the STAR technique and the opportunities that we have here at Sparta Global.